Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 13. Gains and Losses. Hokage's office, a week later. The Sandyame was starting to feel the stress of his old age again. Oh, how he would love to step down, but he didn't have anyone to replace him who had any qualification for the job. Shikaku was too lazy. Kakashi was the same way and reluctant to take the mantle up. Hiashi could possibly do it, but leaving the Hyuga elders to their own devices was something he nor Hiashi wanted to do. Guy. No, anything but that. He didn't want a change in shinobi uniform or teaching style. All he needed was for Naruto to start yelling out, "Flames of Youth." He'd almost prefer letting the Kyuubi out than to see that. Well, maybe ladies in those green jumpsuits were a totally different story. But the problem was, the civilian and elder councils just had a stroke of uncharacteristic genius, and the Hokage had barely been able to divert disaster. The problem had been so big, he had barely any time to rewrite his law to include Fu and the Nanabi, to protect her from visiting Taki Ninja, something he sent a message to Shibuki about as well. For years, the councils had been trying to get a shinobi council member on their side. If they had just one more vote over the shinobi, they'd be able to do anything to benefit their goals. Increase taxes on shinobi and shinobi goods, exile Naruto, give Sasuke all the females in the village, exile Naruto, gain hidden secrets from the Yondaime, exile Naruto, wage war for the fun of it, exile Naruto. They really wanted to exile Naruto. But luckily, the shinobi council was uncorruptible. Well, maybe if they paid for all-you-can-eat meal for the Akamaiki or voted to remove all cats for the Inuzuka, they might have luck, but so far they hadn't tried that. But then, they managed to pull off a new highest by bringing up a vote for a new seat on each of the two respective councils, elders excluded. The shinobi agreed, thinking this was just a method to try to get another obnoxious anti-Naruto voice with them. They had been considering adding a shinobi from one of the newer clans. The Morino were high on the list, and perhaps Guy for Spirit. But they already put the Hag on it. The Haruno was now on the shinobi council. Apparently, the evil old hag had tested herself and her daughter, and found out that their voices had come from some sort of Kekkei Genkai the Haruno had. This mega voice, release or something, qualified her family as a ninja clan now, and now they could replace her spot on their side with a new anti-Narutotist and take control. However, the Sandyame had a trick of his own. He nominated his own member for the civilian council, to replace the one Anko killed, Tsuki. As a registered landowner of Konoha, being the administrator of the former Uchiha district, now being repainted as the Uzumaki district, as appointed by Naruto, he could be placed on the council. With that, the balance was the same as before, so Naruto no longer was in immediate danger. However, they still had a loss. The council used the new Haruno Kekkei Genkai to force Kakashi to focus on training Team 7, now with Sai, Sakura and Sasuke, because of the potential danger of the new release, as stated in some build they had passed years ago. Luckily, the now Team 11, with Naruto, Haku and Fu, were working rather well together. Naruto was getting help on using his Kyuubi powers from Fu and was practicing chakra control with Haku. Fu was getting jutsu practice from both Naruto and Haku was training to increase her chakra reserves with Fu and Naruto. They had recently completed a set of 14 D rank missions, thanks in no part to Naruto's shadow clones, Haku's control of chakra, and Fu's strength, which was put into use for destroying boulders. This was to help start up Fu's bank account, and keep Naruto's and Haku's up. They needed it now that they had their own house, the old Yondaime place, and it was amusing to see how they took it. Flashback. Day they returned. Oji-san, why did you drag us up here for anyway? Did the civilian council say I robbed a bank or something? Naruto complained with Fu and Haku next to him. The Sandyame had to admit, they'd probably do that. Of course, he knew quite well Naruto didn't have a hope in hell of doing it, and the fact that Fu and Haku would pound him into next week if he even brought it up. No, they didn't, though don't give them any ideas. I'm here Naruto, to talk about your heritage. Naruto looked confused. My heritage? Naruto said in confusion. The Sandyame nodded. Yes, originally I had planned to wait until you were a chunin, or the hope that you'd be mature enough to handle it. However, With your lack of housing resulting from the civilian councils, and the oddity of using shinobi residencies, true enough, spending another day in the Inuzuka might be a little risky. After all, Naruto's bed was also in the room of an old Pomeranian that had existed in the clan since its founding, which the clan affectionately nicknamed Old Puffball, or Puffy-san, who disliked Naruto immensely, and barked loudly, stole his shoes and nightcap, and ate his ramen just to annoy him. However, I believe it's time for you to know the truth about who you are. Who I am, Naruto said, confused. Fu and Haku seemed interested as well. Naruto-kun, you are the son of Uzumaki Kushina, the last Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox, and the Yondaime. At that, Naruto pulled a Hinata, that is faint. Naruto-kun. 30 minutes later Naruto blinked, to find himself staring into the faces of Haku and Fu, both with concern. The Sandaime was patiently waiting at his desk, with his Ika Ika book in his hands. After all, since he got Anbu stationed around the roof and did a sweep of his tower, he was certain he was free from spies this time. It's amazing, he found 10 listening jutsu, 8 recording jutsu and 1 remote detonation jutsu. Did they want to kill him if it got worse for their Destori Naruto agenda? Who? Haku-chan, Fu-chan, Oji-san, I had the strangest dream that I was told the Yondaime was my father. Naruto-kun, that wasn't a dream, Fu brought up. That prompted another feint, and an evil grin on Haku's face. Naruto, wake up, or I'm testing my new ice release ball implosion. I'm up, Naruto said instantly. They chuckled at that. Interesting, remind me never to get her mad, the Sandaime said to himself, but never mind that. Yes, you are his son, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto seemed to be thinking. Hey, if I'm his son, I can sort of get why I have the fox inside me, the whole noble leader, me being born at the wrong time thing, but why keep it a secret? If I was told to be his son, I'd be about as worshipped as the Tem, and why hasn't anyone ever picked up on our similar looks? I have no idea, though I've wondered if some have guessed that. Kakashi for one probably knows, and I believe that a few of our more open-minded, aware ninja also guessed it, like Maruboshi Kosuke. You mean the 1,000-year genin? Yes, him, and be respectful, that man is Jonin level, he just has his reasons for staying a genin, and I think Shikaku knows it as well as Puffy-san. The evil Pomeraian. Yes, him. I remember when he first met Minato-kun, the little guy and him hated each other, memories. Back to Naruto-kun. Fu asked. He coughed. Yes, and if you must know why it's not common knowledge, first of all if Iwa got wind of it, they'd hunt you down and kill you for spite. Onoki Dono was never one to forget vendettas, and after what Minato did to them in battle, I think they still mourn that day. Well, at least I have a cool dad. True, and second of all, the council would have used you to not only gain your father's seals and possessions, but also you'd probably be worse than Sasuke, Naruto shivered. Worse than that, yes, he at least had some actual, non-spoiled time in his life. If they had raised you from birth, you'd be much worse, Naruto was seeing the Hokage's point. So, where's his house? The Hokage smiled. It's hidden using powerful seals. Your father had taken several precautions due to Iwa's feelings about him, and his strong stand against the acts of the councils. I'm the first to admit I've given the civilians a bit too much leeway. My attempts to keep peace have only made those fools arrogant, and Minato had reversed several of their policies, like increasing ninja restrictions to weed out fake civilian ninja and fangirls, removing shinobi property taxes, and allowing us ninja to eat cheese again, the Hokage smiled. The genin gave him a strange look. I'm not kidding, they managed to ban cheese from shinobi because they were annoyed at the Akamaiki Pizza Festival for its songs. Well, back on topic, his house is currently only accessible by a hidden kunai mechanism. You all are aware of his famed Flying Thunder God technique, right? They nodded. Well, he kept 2 kunai hidden, one at his house, the other here. The Hokage removed a different style kunai from his robes, with seal marks and a lighter, flatter blade, for access to his home. However, it only works from my office. Once I can announce it to the public who you are, I have to hold on to his key for security. Only someone with his blood can work it, or Kakashi's, as we found out when we started to renovate the place. So, that's why the man always late. Fu commented. The Hokage laughed. No, actually that occurred after your D ranks. Fu looked disturbed. So Naruto-kun, I'd take it you and your girls want to check out your home. Well, please try to be discreet with it, only do it when you three are alone with me after your missions, and don't do anything you shouldn't. Naruto fainted again, while Fu and Haku chuckled. Flashback ends. The house, as the Hokage had saw, was actually quite the nice place. 3 stories, 9 bedrooms, and enough room to expand. It appeared as though Minato was hoping to restart the Uzumaki clan here. Sadly that's a bit harder to do when the last of a clan is female. One male can repopulate a clan faster than one female can. The Anbu had done a fine job cleaning the place up, and now with Naruto having his own bed again, with no Pomeranian trying to aggravate him. And he knew quite well that Sasuke, Sakura, and the councils had attempted to follow him, at times even demanding to be shown where they were going. To that, the 3 had laughed, and Haku had actually gotten a chance to test that ice release ball implosion on one of the Chunin that the civilian council had control of. The poor man had gotten memory loss from the pain, and the Hokage, after hearing about it, labeled it a kinjutsu. Naruto had discovered the library of seals, and quickly saw why the Hokage wanted them protected. There were seals that did anything for speed up pancake cooking to creating total sterility. In theory, the council could have a million incentives and punishments at the disposal, that in reality would require little chakra or skill to start, though they would have problems creating them. Naruto didn't. He quickly saw his clan's fabled skills with seals come through. On his own, he created a new anti-Sharingan seal for Fu, and deduced that the 6-pronged web seal on Fu's back that locked the Nanabi inside her was a lower grade than his own 8-element seal, about the same level as the iron armor seal. They also got a chance to lock up all the accumulating summoning scrolls. Frankly, while Fu had signed the beetle contract, who worshipped her as princess for having their queen inside her, to Fu's delight, and Haku signed the Alland penguin and rabbit contracts, and had a rather decent relation with both, Naruto had found a note in the Tuatara 1, stating, Naruto, do not use any of these until you obtain the one of your father from the perverted sage. Whoever this perverted sage was, Naruto would kick his ass until he gave him that contract. Anything from his father would be nice. At the same time he would find it cool to summon giant squids or the Loch Ness monster, all the things he could prank with some of those guys. But now, the group found themselves awaiting a mission. Naruto-kun, Haku-chan, Fu-chan, it is time to give you a B-rank mission once again. The 3 of you are to go to the land of the sea to investigate some rumors about Orochimaru being active in the area. Now, I'd send Chunin or Jonin for such a mission, but I think a high-level mission will help make sure you 3 are prepared for the Chunin exams. At the same time, getting you 3 out of this town will help lower the council's investigation into your housing. Naruto grinned. You can count on us, Oji-san. Dabio. Fu was suddenly glad she picked up a swimsuit. OC Techniques Ice Release. Ball Implosion Rank, A. Kinjutsu. Description. The liquids inside one's balls are frozen and expand, piercing sensitive organs, until the balls implode like trees with frozen sap. Chapter 14. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, green fish. Wave Bridge. On the coast of the Wave Country, at the crack of dawn, sat the great Naruto Bridge. This magnificent bridge, however, was in trouble. A section of the support had fallen off, due to a mistake in construction. This had to be replaced, but the recovering country was having trouble locating cement or stone to fill the hole. So, the hole in the support, the size of a young teenager, was being held up by a peculiar kid, with perhaps the strangest appearance of any Konoha genin. This boy had black hair, shaped like a bowl, and immense eyebrows the size of jumbo pipe cleaners, and huge, wide eyes. To further show off his bizarreness, he had a green jumpsuit, with his hayate as a belt, and orange leg warmers. Lee, what exactly are you doing? One of his teammates decided to ask. This genin had brown hair, and pale eyes like Hinata's, but a different shade. He also didn't appear quite as nice, but more like the character of his clan portrayed, a clan of silent people with little emotions and disturbing stares. Ah yes, Neji, because the support system of this bridge was giving out, I decided it would be a good test of my endurance to hold it up myself. I've been at it for 12 hours straight, and even though I have to use the restroom quite badly, and the fact that I may be hallucinating from thirst and saw a ninja lemur fighting a samurai buffalo, I will not move from my post until Gai-sensei and Tenten return with the supplies. Now, this kind of behavior was sort of over the top, even for his teammate and his equally weird sensei. Lee, this bridge weighs over 1,200 tons, and holding your bladder for too long can cause damage to your kidneys. Also, you really should have some water. This Lee briefly removed his arm and gave a thumbs-up smile. Don't worry, Neji, I shall hold this until Gai-sensei returns, and should I fail in this task, I shall run across the bay to wave and back again while yodeling. Neji's sweat dropped. Lee had adopted all of his sensei's styles, and that include those strange self-inflicted punishments. And the yodeling, oddly for the stoic genin, he found himself shivering. This is one of the many reasons he needed a therapist, besides the fact he has emotional trauma for his father's death and a desire to kill his cousin Hinata-sama. Though some liquid refreshment may be most obliged, may I have a sip of your own canteen, mine's empty. Land of the Sea, seaside village, wow, this place is a... Fu started before Naruto interrupted her. Like Wave, the village was a wooden shamble of buildings dotting the sea coast. This place appeared to be quite poor, though not to the point Wave had been when Haku and Naruto had been there. Though there was a lack of hopelessness in the air that Wave had had at the time, and a nicer view of the sea. Well, I was going to say dump, but that works too, Fu shrugged. Guys, we aren't here to focus on the economics of this place, we're here to search out Orochimaru or anything else strange, so let's agree to meet up here again in an hour, try to dig something up, Haku said, being the reasonable amongst the three. Boy, that was sad. Secret underground area of Konoha. So, how has your tenure as a genin been? Danzo asked of his root ninja. He didn't call him by name, as the ninja of root had none, just their code names. In an emotionless face and tone, Sai answered. So far, as you predicted, Team 7 shows signs of dangerous emotional imbalance. Both Sakura-san and Sasuke-san are controlled by their emotions, and prone to rampages should they get frustrated. It is obvious Kakashi-senpai doesn't like teaching them, but is being forced by the councils too. However, that is not to say that Sasuke has no talent, unlike Sakura-san. However, this power has led to arrogance, Danzo sighed. All this talent, from both Sasuke and Naruto, and yet emotions rule them. He also saw potential in Fu, that Hyuga trained by the Green Beast Imbical Might Guy, and the Aburame child. However, he didn't want to bother with some of the others. The female Hyuga, by all indications, was too weak, the genin who imitated Guy was too weird, and the Inuzuka required a dog to work properly, which would be much too suspicious. That was a large reason as to why there were no Inuzuka en route. Good work, continue with your tenure, hi. Danzo turned around and sighed. The village was being ruined, thanks to those idiots on the civilian and elder councils. He also knew the Sandyame, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was to blame for it to a lesser extent. His policies made it far too easy for the councils to influence and force regulations on ninja. They also flooded the ranks with less than trustworthy civilian ninja, and while he had some skilled ones in his route, such as Sai, those outside his system were not versed well enough to be truly effective shinobi. Shinobi either had to be born by shinobi, or taken from their non-shinobi parents, or else they show weakness. Undisputable females were nothing more than temporary fixtures, attaching to shinobi of skill like parasites, like that Haruno that was with the Uchiha. Either that or they lacked the special skills, like that student of Guy's who did nothing but toss weapons like a maniac. One day, when he was Hokage, he would deal with these inadequacies and fix the flaws of this village's shinobi. No more fangirls, weapon chuckers, or emotionally unstable Jinchuriki. They would all be trained his way. He'd remove their emotions and train them to be perfect shinobi. No anger, no jealousy, and none of that love mush. Children shouldn't be born because the parents liked one another, they should be born by the right combination of genetics. For example, crossbreeding one of the Jinchuriki and a Hyuga, in theory could create offspring with the special chakra of a Jinchuriki inside the Hyuga. With that, the gentle fist could permanently burn a person's chakra point, making the gentle fist even more potent. And he would enforce a dress code. Ninja whose dress was indecent, like Anko's net suit or the jumpsuit of Guy and his spawn, and while he was at it, he'd shave their eyebrows. Those things weren't natural. Back to Wave Naruto was having no luck at all. No one here had even heard the name, Orochimaru. Most shinobi who heard that name cringed or heard it in bingo books, but of course, they had to be in Civilian Central. All the ignorance, and then some with no shinobi help. Speaking of ignorance, get out here. Naruto turned around to see a girl about his age, with black hair and a blue dress, who was covered in bandages, shoved out a fruit market, Rio coins and dollars being tossed out with her, "You monster." Now that was a low blow. Naruto had seen enough of that for himself when people in Konoha treated him like that, and Fu had described having similar treatment in Taki, but why here? No one here could even explain the basics of seals, nonetheless seal a bu into someone, so this person couldn't be a Jinchuriki. Naruto, of course being a good person, went to help her up. "You okay?" he asked. The girl gazed at him with black eyes, before pushing herself up. "Yeah, I'm fine," she said with no emotion. Naruto looked at the market. "So, I could get your groceries, for you if you want." The girl glared at him with distrust evident in her eyes. "No, that won't be necessary." She ran from him. Naruto turned to follow, before he sensed Fu and Haku appeared behind him. He turned to see their gazes burrowing into high. "So, you have any luck?" he asked. They sighed. "None whatever." "Me neither, but Naruto-kun, who was that girl?" Fu demanded. Naruto shrugged. "I don't know, but the strangest thing is, they called her a demon and kicked her out of a store despite having money on her." Sound familiar? Fu and Haku exchanged confused glances. "Sure, it's just like home," Fu scowled, "but why would there be a Jinchuriki here?" Haku held her chin for a moment. If she was a Jinchuriki at all. Though, she definitely is being treated like one. "I think we should try following her." Fu and Naruto looked at her in confusion. "I mean, Orochimaru is rumored to be around, and this girl is oddly hated, perhaps it might be connected." Fu nodded, but turned towards Naruto. "But this doesn't mean you can go on a date with her." Naruto gave her a confused look. "Huh, because I'm taking you out first." Haku now looked ticked. "No, I will. Girls, mission. Oh, right." A short pursuit later Naruto and the girls followed Isaribi a ways away, finding themselves on a deserted beach. Oddly, her tracks ended here. Odd, wonder if she took to the water to throw us off. Haku pondered. But she didn't know she was being followed, Naruto pointed out. So what reason would she have to hide her tracks? The villagers, perhaps, Naruto growled at their mentioning. Treating someone like that, you know I'm tempted to just destroy the place with a few shadow clones and a couple of twisters, Fu grinned. Got room for me. Haku decided to intercept the arson planning. Guys, we have a mission, and burning a village isn't in our job description. Earth release. 3-limb binds. From out of nowhere, binds of solid earth rose from the sand, restraining Naruto, Fu and Haku's feet in one of theirs hands. In vain they tried to break free of the Ethan bounds. "Oh, I'm sorry you dead last fox, but you have no hope of escaping my fox trap, or this," a voice laughed, as a Fuma shuriken flew from out of nowhere and straight at Naruto. Summoning jutsu, Shirudoribido, Haku yelled out before doing one-handed hand seals. In a pofo of smoke, a white rabbit with oddly long ears appeared in the battle. With a spin of its ears, the rabbit found itself spinning like a ultimate shield, and with it knocked the Fuma shuriken off its course and into the surf. The rabbit vanished soon after. "So, you have a few vixen whores now, fox," the voice rang out again. Naruto's eye widened, he knew the voice. "Mizuki Tem," a voice laughed. "So, the dead last demon actually can use its brain." From out of nowhere, a blue-haired man in a black muscle shirt with slight insanity in his eyes appeared and laughed. "Wait, you're the Tem who tried to kill Naruto-kun." Haku had heard the stories. Mizuki laughed. "Oh, this is priceless. How does a idiot freak like you get any sort of company that wasn't from pity or spite?" "Genjustu. But wait, you can't." "I made sure of that." He laughed. The three glared at him. "Ice release. Ball implosion." Mizuki laughed. "Oh, you're that ice bitch I've been hearing about. And if you're talking about that little trick that this monster probably taught you, it's no use, That demon beat me to a point my balls were busted, for that I will kill you. Fu growled. She had enough fucks like this back at her old village, though the insanity was a nice touch. Earth release. Shattering earth. He smashed his palm into the ground, as a giant crack began opening up in the sand, linking with the ocean, and thus the three found themselves tumbling into the surf below. Ice release. Ice dome. Haku formed an ice shield to protect them from sinking, hopefully. Stupid rock bind. You won't get away that easy, bitches. Meanwhile on Demon Island. So, you're the new recruit that Orochimaru-sama sent to inspect my operations, eh? Well, make yourself at home. Amachi, the short, graying man who was in charge of this facility, was interrupted by the following colorful sentence. So, this fucking cave of crap is your home, eh trash? Well, your bitch of a mother must be so proud. This voice belonged to a fiery red-haired kunoichi in pale brown, white clothing with a strange purple tubal-like belt. Her brown eyes had a look that clearly said, I don't want to be here. So, I see Sakin-kun's warning about your language was accurate, eh to Yuya-chan. Don't call me Chan you limp-dicked gay cocksucker. Orochimaru-sama has a order for you, so fucking do it. She gave him a official-looking letter, apparently begrudgingly. He grinned. Interesting, very interesting. A fertility stimulant. Trying to get a little one. No fucking way, asshole. Like I want to be dealing with this shit, but guess what, I fucking have to. Now get to it, dickhead, or else I'm going to fucking rip out your ass. OC techniques. Earth release, 3-limb binds rank, C. Description. Earth rises up and binds the victim's earth release, shattering earth. Rank. A description. Opens a huge fissure in the earth to trap foes. Chapter 15. Monster of the deep victim of the sound. Demon Island now. To Yuya was many things, the swear queen of the sound, the demonic flutist, but she was in an unusually poor mood. The redhead, decides not really wanting to be here at all, was in a poor mood because of her leader's orders. Of course, it wasn't like she'd even really liked the pedophilic snake anyway. Of the members of the Sound Four, she was the only one who didn't come to him on their own. She didn't want power, fame, or sought out powerful chakra to eat. The pale bastard had attacked the village she'd lived in 6 years ago, when she was just 8 years ago. A member of the Mafu clan, a clan of demon summoners from the land of demons, the Mafu were the only ones in possession of a demon summoning contract for the race of Doki. Because of their potential to possibly control demons, like the tailed beasts, Orochimaru and a strange hunchbacked man, both of them wearing black cloaks with red clouds, came out of nowhere and sought out their secrets. The clan had fought bravely, but they all were slaughtered. All but her of course. But she'd had been told to run by her mother, and missed the wrath of the attack. But she ended up as an orphan, living in the streets of a city in the land of swamps for 3 years, until the bastard found her and took her with him. She recognized him, though, and tried to run. But the bastard bit her on her neck, and forced on her a cursed seal. The damn thing hurt for 5 agonizing days, with no ability to sleep, relax, or even really to think. And while she did enjoy the power it gave her, it was also the instrument of her enslavement. The cursed seal she'd been given was slightly different than the other seals of the Sound Four. Jirobo's was designed more for his taijutsu, Kitamaru's was designed to increase his accuracy with the third eye, and Sakin and Ukin's was designed to coexist with their fusion Kekkei Genkei. What hers was a slave collar. The cursed seal's added effect was to restrain her free will whenever Orochimaru ordered her to do something. Luckily for her, the pedophile appeared to be gay, so he didn't rape her using his power. Instead he ordered her to obtain fertility booster from Amachi, so she could carry the Uchiha's child. The pedophile had his eyes on the young Uchiha, last scion of the Sharingan that he had any hope of obtaining. Madara was too powerful to take, Itachi was protected by the Akatsuki, and Kakashi wouldn't work. He needed both of his new eyes for the Sharingan he wanted. He planned to lure the boy to him, by using the power of the cursed seal. The boy was obsessed with gaining power, and Orochimaru could easily show that he could give him it. Of course, the bastard would just possess him and obtain his Kekkei Genkei for his own purposes. However, the pedophile was no idiot. He knew quite well that he wouldn't retain the Sharingan after he would have to eventually go to another body. So that's where she came in. She, a sound genin named Kin, and several others were to be used to breed a new clan of Uchiha in Otogakure, a clan who would be conditioned from birth to be able and begging to allow Orochimaru to possess them. Their spy, Kabuto, had reported the genins arrogant and perverted Demonor. The kid would rape them without restraint. And because of this damn fertility drug she was forced to get, the kid would have no problem conceiving a new generation. With a sigh, she followed the man into the main laboratory. On the shore of Demon Island, finally, land. Naruto collapsed onto the beach, kissing the ground. Fu and Haku seemed relieved as well. Because of that ass Mizuki, the three of them had been knocked into the sea in the ice dome, and had been set adrift by the current. It had been a grueling 6 hours, locked up, freezing in the ice dome, and unable to use the bathroom. Speaking of, after a few bathroom breaks, Naruto, Fu and Haku decided to get serious. Okay, this must be one of the islands, so let's see if we can find a village or something and get off this place, Haku surmised. Naruto and Fu nodded in agreement. You know, I wonder if this is the island that girl came from, Naruto asked. Fu and Haku gave him a look. What? I can't be curious. Haku shook her head. Sorry, I guess I might be a little paranoid, she apologized. Fu though still seemed annoyed. Though that was understandable, she was a little more protective of him than Haku was, though she was getting better. Picking up a rock in her hand, Fu shrugged. Okay, maybe I am, I guess, but if that girl makes any sort of move, I'm going to. She crushed the rock in her bare hands, a clear enough message. Naruto nervously nodded, before turning in the direction of the sinking sun, and spotted something green rise from the water near a body of rocks. Hey, what the hell is that? Naruto yelled. The green thing looked at him, before it ran into the rock body, and passed through it. Naruto, Fu and Haku blinked. I think we should check that out, Fu commented. You think? Inside the lab? So, what the fuck are you doing in here anyway? Tayuya said with a disgusted tone, seeing all the bodies suspended in green liquid that reminded her disgustingly of pickle juice. Amachi grinned. This is where the magic of progress is made. With everything here, I can create anything, a spider that breathes fire, a rat capable of chewing through steel, or even entirely new Kekkei Genkai. Tayuya rose an eyebrow. New Kekkei Genkai. Yes, I'm sure you've heard of my progress in creating the ultimate water Kekkei Genkai, allowing one with the ability to breathe underwater, withstand thousands of pounds of water pressure, and increase their overall strength and resilience tenfold. My prototype is already a brilliant success. She's already managed to single-handedly destroy 5 ships, and has brought me plenty of supplies for my continued research, food, and even a PlayStation. Tayuya gave him a look. What? Even an evil scientist likes a bit of Guitar Hero once in a while. I also wanted to test her mental abilities, and I'm proud to say her mental skills haven't decreased due to the experimentation. He heard a running noise, and turned around, as did Tayuya. Running in was the girl that Naruto had tried to help earlier, but her bandages were gone, revealing that the areas covered by the bandages were coated in green scales. This was what he did, and to a child at that. At least their curse marks could be hidden discreetly. Tayuya felt a little sick. This guy may just be worse than the pedophile that controlled her. Ah, my brilliant success, how was the swim? Amachi asked. Any interesting occurrences, any defects? I must know Isarabi-chan. The girl looked down. It was good, no problems. Is something the matter? You do realize, if you don't do as I say, I won't turn you back to normal once the experiment is completed. Tayuya glared at him. She knew quite well from Orochimaru's experiments that this sort of thing wasn't reversible. This creep was just using her, like some disposable kunai. If only Orochimaru hadn't ordered her to get the fertility drugs from this guy, then she'd push him off a cliff. Of course, once he gave them to her, she could always push him off the cliff. Nothing in her orders against that. Well, when I came up on the island, there were 3 others on the island. Amachi seemed interested. 3 others. On the island. He reached for an earpiece in his left ear. Yes, Mizuki-kun, we have intruders. Deal with them, would you? Yes, of course you have to. I let you out after all. In the cave Naruto, Fu and Haku walked through the dimly lit caves of this unknown facility. Nervously, Haku's hand found its way to Naruto's, and Fu, not being undone, grabbed his other. You know I have to give this place credit, the evil rating is quite impressive, Fu nervously chuckled. All that's needed is the monster and a bit of evil laughter. Fu-chan, that sounds a little cliché, Datbyo, Naruto mumbled. Then from out of nowhere, a dark shape flew down the corridor, a Fuma shuriken. Hit the ground. The team dropped to the ground as the shuriken passed over them and hit the ground. An evil chorus of laughs permeated the air. Well, there's the evil laughter you wanted, Haku commented, as Mizuki became visible in the dim murk of the cave. Well, if it isn't the fox and his vixens. I was hoping you'd survive, because if you were just crushed by rocks, that wouldn't be nearly as much fun. Instead, why not draw it out, as you squirm in agony? Oh really, Tem, this time, things are going to be different. You don't have the drop on us like last time, and I beat you as an academy student, I can sure as hell do it now. Mizuki glared in fury. You surprised me that time, but this time, you're going to die. He drew another Fuma shuriken and sent it flying. Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. The single Fuma began a swarm of 30 of the deadly weapons, all flying at the genin. Wind release. Frosty wind. Haku took a deep breath, before a gust of wind flew at the shuriken, blowing them off their trajectory and hitting the ground before the duplicates vanished in puffs of smoke. Damn whore, Mizuki growled before doing a few hand signs. Earth release. Sinkhole. A sinkhole of spiraling earth formed at the trio's feet, slowly pulling them down. The trio attempted to break out, before they grinned. Ha ha, they made a few faces at Mizuki before exploding into smoke. Shadow clones. Damn right idiot. Fu smashed into him with a ferocious kick, sending him into the wall, breaking the wall in the process. With a groan, he forced himself out. You little fox whores, can't beat me, he laughed. Earth style, 3 limbs bind. Fu, Haku and Naruto found themselves bound by the earth once again. Hey, let us out. Naruto cried out. Sorry, but no can do fox. This time, I'm going to make sure you stay dead. Mizuki grinned as via puffs of smoke, dozens of exploding tags appeared on the walls around them. With these delayed bombs, I'll be able to get away, while you 3 are blasted all the way to hell. So, any last words, fox demon? Naruto smirked. Just one. Fu now. Earth release. Earth style wall. The broken wall that Mizuki had planned to escape from was blocked by a new wall of earth, adorned with petals. Then with a laugh, Fu, Haku and Naruto exploded into smoke. More shadow clones. Fuck them. The bombs went off, engulfing the room in fire. From behind the wall, the genin sighed. Well, he's dead, Fu commented. No way in hell anyone could survive all of that. Now, let's find the green thing. In the laboratory, a explosion shook the lab, startling Isaribi, Tayuya and Amachi. The scientist smiled. So, it appears that Mizuki-kun has taken care of our little intruders, Isaribi huffed. That man, if you ask me, it's more likely he blew himself up. The idiot, Amachi smiled madly. Quite possible as well, my dear. But no matter, I believe it is time you go, my dear Tayuya-chan. I fucking told you not to. Tayuya was cut off as from out of nowhere, streams of water rose up from the nearby ocean and restrained the furious red head, as a huge mass rose from the water. The evil doctor grinned. What in hell are you doing, you bastard? Tayuya yelled, before she started writhing in pain. He laughed as Isarabi cringed. This, my dear, is my Yumibozu, my ultimate creation. My indestructible monster. And, now it's absorbing information on that little curse mark of yours. Be free to give your last words now. I still haven't worked out the sound defect in him, Tayuya growled. That baka you work under thought he could cut off funding for my work, eh? Well, now I'm going to take his work, and use it to destroy him. Then, with Yumibozu and my future masterpieces, I shall take over the sea and rule as the first marine emperor. Tayuya looked furious. Oh Kami, if I have to be screwed by some evil bastard, can't at least it be a bastard with ambition? Ah, you foolish little girl, the sea is everything. Few can truly control it, but from it, one gains gold, silver, iron. With my future minions, I will mine the sea's riches, with the foolish ninja of even Kiri unable to stop me, until it's too late and I invade the land. And unlike the land, I can attack anywhere without warning. First I can strike the land of sound, then the land of fire, and then the land of lightning. As you can see, the sea is endless possibility. But first, Yumibozu needs 2 full meals to reach its true power. He turned his head, like an evil owl, towards Isaribi. Her eyes widened. No, you promised. Yeah, I lied. A stream of water from Yumibozu grabbed Isarabi, before sucking her in. Struggling to get free, Isarabi found herself transforming. Green scales covered her body as fins grew on her hands. Tayuya's eyes were wide. You sick bastard. You'd do that to an innocent girl. Amachi laughed. Of course I would. I needed a test subject, and she was all I needed. Suddenly, his cloth started to rip, as the old man was replaced by an upright, bluish-green creature like Isarabi. To perfect my ultimate form. Behold, the face that will become the first marine EMPOREOR. Aura release. Aura sphere. A blue sphere flew from the shadows and struck Amachi, sending him into the wall. Naruto. Fu and Haku burst out, panting. Wow, that maze of a hallway system has a lot of dead ends, Haku panted. Naruto forced himself to breathe normally, before looking up at Isaribi. So, that's why people call you a monster, Isarabi looked down. You know, I don't see it. Isarabi looked up at him with tears in her eyes. But look at me, I'm a freak, a monster. She sighed. Naruto shook his head. Trust me, I've seen much worse than you. Interesting. A Jinchuriki, and the Kyuubi's one at that. Amachi forced himself up from his place of impact. You make fine food for my Yumibozu. Devour them, and steal their strength. The giant water behemoth roared and sent tendrils of water to capture Fu, Haku and Naruto. Storm release. Great twister. Naruto formed a twister that struck the tendrils and sucked them up. Storm release. Water spout. Now a water spout. The twister struck Yumibozu in the heart, causing it to fall. Isaribi and Tayuya hit the ground, and panted for air. Naruto ended his jutsu and landed the ground. You saved me, but you don't even know me, Isaribi said in confusion. Naruto smiled. It doesn't matter who. I'm not going to allow anyone to be eaten by that giant blob, Fishy-san, Isaribi blushed. Fu and Haku growled. While they knew that wasn't flirting, just the fact that Naruto didn't know the girl's name, they didn't need any more competition than what they'd get from Hinata. But then Haku's eyes went wide. Ice release. Ice dome. A dome of ice surrounded Isaribi, Tayuya and Naruto, as Yumibozu reformed and smashed down on them. You fools, you can't destroy Yumibozu unless you evaporate the sea itself, it is immortal. Amachi charged into the fray. Thus, my dynasty will be immortal. OC techniques and description. Earth release. Sinkhole rank. A description. A sinkhole forms in the ground, sucking the foe down into a airless cavern. Storm release. Water spout keke genke a description. A water spout, a twister which absorbed a water release, is formed and strikes the foe. Chapter 16. Scorching battle town with hot springs. Taesun was in a coffee shop, sipping a cup of decaf. On the other side of his table sat a tall, red-headed lady. She was wearing a black tank top, think a black version of Sakura's Shippuden wear, and shorts, with fishnet armor covering her arms and legs. The lady was smirking heavily. Ah, so it appears our little Naruto has just found himself a few new ladies. He's such a player, don't you agree, Taesun-kun? Taesun sighed. I think we both know it's not that, Fluffy-chan. Don't call me that. Our young heir to my clan isn't doing anything to attract girls, except being himself. It is well known that a caring guy like Naruto-kun will naturally attract females, the seal just speeds the process up. But really, Tai-kun, you could have let me add a bit more to the seal formation, the girl who Taesun had called Fluffy whined. He sighed. You have no skills with seals, Fluffy. What did I say about calling me that? The seal you wanted to add would cause any female who's fertile to swarm him. A more minor pheromone booster is much more decent. It only increases his attraction as viewed by compatible females. Of course it is, I was the one to decide which females would be the best to set our little Naruto with, who'd most likely return the affections, after all. Using my power, I was able to convince the old geezer. Lay off the Sandiame, would you? I respect the guy, except with the give the councils a little too much power thing, but then again, no one's perfect. No, even me, and I'm the reason we have to do this. Fluffy looked at him gently. You know you're not the only one to blame, right, Tycoon? He shrugged. Good point. I can blame you and them instead. Fluffy looked annoyed. Sure. Anyway, with my ability to suggest things in people's heads, I made sure they'd get their current mission. Taesoon didn't seem happy though. But really, are you sure about that one? To Yuya, she's one of Orochimaru's minions, a member of the Sound Four, and you want her to get with Naruto. But of course, to restart a clan, you need a verity. That's one of the reasons the Uchiha is going to fail with his attempts to restart the clan. All that will be attracted to him will be weak fangirls, but the Uzumaki will not fall like that. You know, you're oddly loyal to my clan, despite everything. Fluffy glared at him. I have no love for your clan, Baka, but it's either them, or the Uchiha. She said the word like one would curse. Anyway, the girl known as Tayuya is a special case. With the Uchiha and Naruto no longer as a team, the seal no longer has its full extent of its abilities active. But the girl shares the Uchiha's path, thus the potential of the seal for starting a relationship and helping the girl. Besides, every clan needs the aggressive one, and I'm sure little Tayuya will work out quite fine. And I have to admit, the kid's making progress, the moderate Haku, the clingy Fu, the stalker Hinata, and now little Isaribi and Tayuya. You're making this sound like a game, Taesoon complained. I don't like thinking of girls like collectibles. Now, don't we have a hermit to catch? Fluffy glared at him. You mean, I have a hermit to catch? But of course, after all, a lady of your caliber will trap ol Jiraiya easily, Fluffy-chan. Don't you dare call me that again. Demon Island Amachi slashed with his webbed hand, striking the ice and scratching the surface. He growled and jumped back. That ice dome can't protect you forever. Water release, water bullet. A bullet of water flew from Amachi's mouth and struck the ice where the crack was, expanding the crack. Huh, how the heck did that happen? Naruto asked. He never got much of a grade in sciences, like of the status of water and ice. Amachi grinned. It's science, my Jinchuriki. Water is naturally above 0 degrees centigrade, which ice is below. Also, by entering cracks, the water slowly melts and increases the size of said crack, until his fins I guess, smashed into the huge ice crack, causing the ice dome to shatter, before jumping back as Yumibozu lowered a tentacle down for the strike. Earth release. Earth-style wall. A wall of earth rose from Fu and blocked the smashing strike of Yumibozu. Tayuya looked serious. Guys, we have to deal with both the fish bastard and the giant glob of liquid, else we're screwed. So, all those who specialize in long range, deal with the fucking blob, the rest of us take out the damn fish man. Fu looked annoyed. Who put you in charge, flat chest? That ticked Tayuya off. She was very sensitive to her small breasts. Why you little? Naruto stepped in between them. Girls, let's fight after we deal with the monsters. They blushed and stopped, though Tayuya tried to hide hers. Well, aside for establishing your pecking order, maybe you should be worried about my pets. Amachi laughed, as he pressed a button via a remote in his hands. From out of nowhere, random trap doors opened up, releasing giant, mutated cats, dogs, bears, rats and even a 5-headed spider. Gay bastard, Tayuya huffed. We don't have time for all of them. Summoning jutsu. Summoning jutsu. Summoning jutsu. Summoning jutsu. Tayuya, Fu, Haku and Naruto all let out summonings, summoning forth 3 large humanoids with covered eyes and sealed mouths, a giant green and black molted beetle, a dark furred rabbit, and Mr. Ostrich appeared. Tayuya blinked. Alright, what dumb fuck just summoned the bird? Mr. Ostrich glared at her. Watch it, Missy. Tayuya blinked, before drawing out a flute. Alright, I need to concentrate to control my doki, so I leave the rest to you guys. She started playing as the 3 doki suddenly leapt into battle. Go, Mr. Ostrich, Naruto yelled. The bird sighed, he needed to get paid for this. Shirabito, attack. The dark rabbit grinned evilly before attacking a mutant cat with an evil laugh. Jubiteru, destroy them. The large beetle nodded before taking flight into battle, leaving the remaining 4 to fight the Mad Doctor and his experiment. Fu-chan. Isarabi. Got it. Fu-chan. Isaribi-san. Deal with Amachi, Haku-chan and I'll fight the blob. Speaking of, after dodging another attack from the blob, the battles began. Versus Umbozu. Water release. Explosion. As a tendril of the ferocious Yumibozu was about to slam down, it exploded due to Fu's jutsu. With a roar, the beast reformed and swiped down once again. Aura release. Aura sphere. A sphere of chakra formed in Naruto's hands before it was sent flying at the beast's arms, cutting it off before it reformed and slammed down again. Haku and Naruto barely managed to avoid it. Damn, this thing won't die. Naruto-kun, perhaps we should try to hit the glowing yellow core. Fu pointed at the glowing yellow center. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, I guess that might work. Lightning release, thunder ball. A ball of static electricity formed in Naruto's hands before it was sent flying into the beast, but as it hit, it was like it hit something solid as it dissipated, and jumping out the way Naruto and Haku managed to avoid getting flattened. Ice release, ice spikes. From the beast itself, several spikes of ice formed, but they quickly melted. So freezing the thing wouldn't do anything either. No good, we might need some sort of fire release, Naruto groaned. And sadly, I have no inferno release, or anything of the manner, to work with. Damn. But he did a hand sign, shadow clone jutsu. A dozen Narutos formed, perhaps this might work. Each Naruto drew a kunai, before attaching an exploding tag to each of them. Then all 12 of the kunai were sent flying at the beast. Shadow kunai jutsu. The kunai multiplied into 1,000 of them, all flying into the beast. The beast dissolved into water, avoided by the monster as they exploded behind it. Naruto sighed. Great, I'm out, Haku-chan you have. No, they all got soiled from the sea water, the various Narutos groaned. This was going to be long and painful. Versus Amachi Fu was having better luck. She could hit her foe, like she just did by sending him flying into the wall. However, it was clear to see that Isarabi wasn't a ninja. What training she had been given was more for placing timed exploding tags, like the ones Mizuki used, on boats. While she could slash, she didn't have the agility to manage a hit. You cannot stop me, I am the future Ocean Lord. My name is Amachi, successor of Neptune. Fu gave him a weird look. Who was this Neptune guy? Water release. Water tornado. Fu smashed into Amachi in a water silicone, but the old bat just laughed. Pathetic. He headbutted her, breaking the jutsu and knocking her back on wobbly knees. Water release, water bullet. Fu was hit and sent flying to the ground. Leave her alone. Isaribi smashed into him with the distraction Fu had provided, both scaled beings knocking the other into the ground. He got up first however, and lifted her up in a neck choke. Is this the best you got? Perhaps my experiments would have gone better if I used a ninja. Well then, I shall destroy you now, failure. He increased his grip, before Fu sped into him from nowhere and knocked him into the wall. Her eyes were yellow gold, she had entered her initial Jinchuriki state. You okay? She asked. Isarabi nodded. Amachi forced himself up. So, that is the power of a Jinchuriki. It's more than I expected. I will enjoy harvesting your flesh, and using your demon to rule the ocean. Shut the hell up with the rule the ocean crap. Versus all. The battles were getting desperate. The summoned animals Shirobito and Mr. Ostrich had reverse summoned home, too exhausted to continue. The Doki were now sporting new scars and Jubiteru was panting. Tayuya was running low on chakra, so now strange line patterns covered her from her curse mark. Isaribi was on the ground, too exhausted to continue, as Fu and Amachi continued to duke it out in fisticuffs and the occasional water jutsu from Amachi. Haku was virtually out of chakra and on the ground, and Naruto was panting as well. Yumibozu didn't appear any more worse the wear, when it roared and sent a water tendril flying at Naruto. Lightning release. Lightning surge. Naruto slammed his hand into the ground, as tendrils of lightning flew from him and rose into the tendril. The tendril exploded as Naruto seized his chance. Water release. Water fang bullet. A harsh spinning spiral of water rose from below and pierced the glowing center of Yumibozu. It roared out in agony as it began to collapse. Yes, Naruto smiled before he turned around to help Haku to her feet. You alright? He asked. She nodded, before her eyes widened. Tayuya, watch out. The redhead turned around, before finding her legs bound by the reformed Yumibozu. Get the hell off me. She used her flute to cause her doki to fly at the tendril now that Jubiteru was fighting the last mutant animal. They swung down on the monstrosity, before they were slammed by a new tentacle and desummoned. The tendril then flew straight at Tayuya, now more like a spear than a tendril. Substitution. Tayuya vanished in a puff of smoke, before reappearing next to Haku, where Naruto had been. Because now he had taken the hit. Naruto-kun. Haku and Tayuya gasped, before Tayuya realized she called him kun. Then he began to glow red as the water spear evaporated and his wound began healing. Yes, thank Kami for the fox, Haku sighed. Tayuya looked at the boy in interest. The Kyuubi's Jinchuriki was rather handsome, she thought. Meanwhile, in the seal, Taesun's seal gained a new kanji. Scorch. Scorch release. Heat wave. From Naruto, huge waves of heat radiated from him, causing Yumibozu to start steaming. The monster cried out as it began trying to force up sea water to replenish itself. Wow, just in time too, Fu commented as they got hit with the heat wave. She, Isaribi, Haku, Amachi and Tayuya suddenly found themselves sweating heavily. Damn, I'm going to smell like hell, Tayuya grumbled. Now, while every girl wouldn't mind a hot guy, this was a little ridiculous. She turned to see Haku panting. Realizing her standard battle kimono thing might be a little hot, she removed it, showing Haku in a pale blue tank top and shorts. And of course, she had larger breasts than she did. At least Fish Girl was a cup like her. What's happening? I can't breathe, he cried out, as his scales began to vanish. Isaribi looked at her hands, and saw the scales were vanishing as well. Cool, I wonder if I can use fire release now. Fire release, fireball. A ball of flames formed in Naruto's hands, applying the same physics as his water and thunderball techniques. Tossing it like a baseball pitcher, Naruto struck Yumibozu in the heart. The already overheating water monster cried out in agony as its core exploded into flames, the great beast collapsing to the sea as nothing distinct, for real this time. No, my monster, you destroyed my monster. Amachi cried, now back to normal due to the scorch release. Isaribi, now back to normal, lifted the man up by his shirt, staring at him with her now scale-less face. As a diver and living alone, Isaribi wasn't exactly weak when it came to muscle strength. So, looks like you fulfilled your bargain, I'm back to normal. Now, this is payback. Isarabi tossed him into the water, the man's shirt ripping as he skid across the harsh stone. As he hit the water, he desperately fought his way back to the surface. Help, help, I don't have any chakra, and I can't swim. The group's sweat dropped. He wanted to rule the ocean, and he can't swim. Fu laughed as she left her initial form. What a dumb ass, Tayuya giggled. Well, a flaw in the good doctor's plan I see, as is this, water release, great waterfall technique. Suddenly, the waves picked up, sending the doctor out to sea. Curse you. Meanwhile in Konoha, Hiruzen-sama, don't you dare let the boy and his team into the Chunnin exams. Kaharu screeched. She and Homura were currently confronting the Sandyame, trying to get him to see things their way, as in the boy shouldn't be allowed to get past Genin. Kohura-san, Homura-san, I wish you'd both understand. Naruto-kun is not the Kyuubi. At the same note, Fu-chan is not the Nanabi and Haku-chan is not a spy. They are very skilled young ninja, deserving of the promotion. No, they are not. Maybe you don't see it, Hiruzen, but as long as the two Jinchuriki are Genin, we can order them around. They'd be only for the good of Konoha. You two are starting to sound like Danzo-san. Now let me remind you two, I am the Hokage here, you listen to me. Now, let me tell you this, if you do anything to keep Team 11 from entering the Chunnin exams, Team 7 will be barred as well. They look stung at his harsh words. You wouldn't. Hiruzen did the infamous big head no jutsu of Iruka's use, combined with the dark look from Tenzo Yamato. Don't test me. Back on Demon Island, I'm normal again. Isaribi had tears of joys in her eyes, as she commenced to hug Naruto, getting angry looks from the other girls. Thank you Naruto-kun. More angry looks from the girls. Naruto just smiled. It was no problem, Isarabi-san. Chan, she whispered. Naruto shrugged. Sure. He noticed a little green mark on her arm. He examined it briefly, before looking back at Isaribi. I think I see what happened just now. It appears that the scorch release burned out the imperfections that your abilities had. Most likely, it's now controllable. The girls gave him odd looks. He shrugged. It's the Uzumaki seal trait. Isaribi closed her eyes, as she started growing scales over her body again, before retracting them. She smiled. Okay, maybe not cured, but at least I don't have to wear those bandages. Tayuya appeared to be in thought. You say you're an expert in seals, right? She turned around, showing the curse mark on her neck. Do you think? He nodded and gave a look over the seal. It's not really expertise, it's more like I naturally get them. Anyway, I'm sorry. Tayuya turned around and looked at his sad eyes. I don't know much about this seal, except that I'd have to do a lot of work to remove it. Where did you get it anyway? She looked away. From Orochimaru. Her eyes widened. Wait, how am I able to say that? The others looked at her in confusion. Say what? Tayuya's hands were shaking. Normally, this curse mark keeps me for telling people things like that, but around you, she looked down, if only I could stay. Why not? Naruto asked in curiosity. We have plenty of room. Fu rose an eyebrow. She knew quite well Naruto was just being nice, but she was still a little possessive. Besides bringing in two people of possible strategic importance, one of Orochimaru's insiders and a person with a new Kekkei Genkai. That would give the old bat's legal standing to force out the location of our house. The Sandaime can't stop them if they say he's restricting something that big. Naruto groaned. That was true. Also, while I could pretend to have died, Orochimaru has spies in place in Konoha. I don't know them by name, but I know he has at least 3. Also, I don't know much, but he has plans to infiltrate Konoha during the Chunin exams. And later invade. Everyone's eyes went wide. This is big, we have to get this to Oji-san immediately, Naruto said, before turning back to Tayuya. Be discreet, and none of us will use your name. Tayuya smiled. I'll just say the cave got flooded out before I got here and the old man is nowhere to be found. That's true enough, I'd be able to say that. And, after the invasion, I'll see if I catch up with you guys again, Naruto smiled. That was probably the longest you went without cursing, Tayuya giggled. Oh fuck you. She kissed him on the lips, causing angry noises to erupt from Fu, Haku and Isaribi. Well, see ya around, who knows, maybe I will fuck you next time. She vanished in a body flicker, as Naruto fainted. Fu grabbed him by the ankle and dragged him out. You win that round, flat-chested, she grumbled, before going out to look for Amachi's boat. Isaribi turned towards Haku. Well Haku-san, I'm going to be going my own way for now. Now that my problem is under control, I want to go places, see the sights. But don't worry, you'll see me again, she smiled as she reverted to her scaled form and jumped into the deep. Haku sighed. 2 more competitors for Naruto, and one grabbed the first kiss. OC Techniques Scorch Release, Heat Wave Kekkei Genkai B. Description: evaporates all water in the vicinity, causes the air to become superheated. Fire Release, Fireball rank. See description, compresses fire into a ball to be tossed at your foe. Chapter 17. Storm in the night in a meat locker. So, you are the legendary Sannin, Jiraiya-san, Toad Summoner, writer of the infamous Ika Ika novels, and yet my associate was able to capture you so easily. It's almost laughable, Taesun grinned. Jiraiya was hanging from above in some random store's meat locker, with his hands bound and a senjutsu chakra suppressing seal on his upper leg out of reach. The large man seemed to be shivering from something that wasn't the cold. That associate of yours. She isn't normal. She's worse than Tsunade Haim. Said associate was grinning maliciously. At least Tsunade never used her female charms on me. Yes, because unlike me, she has morals, Fluffy grinned heavily. Plus, I know your weaknesses quite well. It's evident by your writing style, Jiraiya grinned. So, you're a fan of my literary genuines, eh? Taesoon chuckled. Genuese. That garbage Genuese. What's the next bestseller then? Might Guy's fashion. Fluffy glared at him. Tycoon. Don't you dare insult such Genuese work. Without that book, our plan would never have come out so well, Taesoon sighed. And the harem was necessary, why? We could have just left him with the young Hyuga or something. Jiraiya looked astonished. Harem. Who? I must get some of his tips. Fluffy-chan. Don't. And on it, she drew from possibly out of nowhere a taser, and promptly shocked the Sanin. Ow ow ow. Taesoon sighed. We need him sane you know. Fluffy sighed and ceased the electrocution. He coughed up smoke. Who are you anyway? Taesoon grinned from under his cloak. I am Taesoon Uzumaki, last adult of the Uzumaki, seal masters of Whirlpool. Jiraiya gave a good fish impression in his stare of shock. Uzumaki. Wait, Naruto is the last fertile one, yes. He is the hope of the Uzumaki clan's eventual rebirth, as well as the Namikaze. Jiraiya was now alarmed. How? I know things like a sage, I do quite well in that regard. Also, I must ask, why are you spending your time fraternizing with prostitutes, and Fluffy here, instead of watching over your godson? Not even the Sandyame was privy to that information, so how did this guy know all of that? I was told he'd been adopted by Homura-sama, he tried to defend. And you believed the council, why? Jiraiya had a confused look on his face for a second, before a tick mark appeared on his forehead. What? How dare those Tems lie to me? I will shred them into ground meat before feeding it to the evil Pomeranian Puffy Tem. Sadly he looked down. Minato, Kushina-chan, forgive me. I failed you. Fluffy scowled at Kushina's name. Taesoon at least appeared sympathetic. I'm not saying you failed completely. You did provide his trust fund and his academy tuition, but you could still do better. Hey, if this guy raised the kid, he'd be a pervert. True, Jiraiya-san, you must return to Konoha quickly, the Chunin exams are about to start, and he's going to need training. The idiots of the Council of Elder Sand Civilanes, along with the Haruno parasite who just got herself onto the Shinobi Council. Wait, that but ugly bitch is on the one council that's not corrupt. Scream release or something, and they used that along with the Uchiha's Sharingan to force his sensei, Kakashi, to focus on them. He doesn't like it, but he has to, leaving Naruto and his two new teammates without a sensei. The poor guy was originally supposed to split time between them 50-50, but the idiots are dead focused on destroying Naruto's future. Wait, two new teammates. Why do I smell something? Female. Jiraiya was grinning. Because my Ika idea senses are kicking in. Taesoon tried to weasel out, but Fluffy beat him to it. Oh, just two of the currently 5 girls jaunting for his affections. Jiraiya was having a nosebleed. That Gaki has a harem. Let me go, I must see my future meal ticket of ideas. And my godson too, Taesoon glared at Fluffy. Really, I was just going to give him the termite contract to create new peepholes. My last fertile clan member will not be used as porn material. Fluffy giggled. Jiraiya had a perverted grin on her face. Can I still? No. Oh, come on. Nada. So. Are you too? Taesoon's eye twitched. No. Fluffy is merely doomed to serve my clan as long as I'm alive, something that I'm afraid is not going to last long. Once our young friend obtains all 9 of my Kekkei Genkei. All 9, I will cease to exist, as will Fluffy. Besides, I had a wife, until Uchiha killed her when he destroyed my village. His hidden face became dark as he turned around and looked at the moon. I was hoping that the last one would be decent enough to make up for that Uchiha's sins, but it appears he isn't. I'm afraid that if, as the rumors suggest, an Orochimaru tempts him with power, I will have to destroy him. And then the Sharingan dies forever. Fluffy laughs in glee. It's like a dream come true. You do realize I can't go help my godson, if I'm tied up like a ham. Hyuga compound. Naruto was kissing a giggling Hinata, repeatedly. The girl giggled as she felt his hands slide down, cupping her ass gently, as his lips moved onto her breasts. Oh Naruto-kun, I love you. I love you too, my Hinata-chan. Naruto, is that a kunai poking me? Bang! Hinata was startled out of bed as a harsh thunderstorm roared outside her window. She felt aroused, and frustrated, and her sheets were sticky. The storm interrupted her favorite Naruto sex dream. Yes, Hinata was a humongous pervert. In fact, virtually all the Hyuga were perverts. It was a clan thing, like the Nara lazy gene, the Uzumaki ramen gene, and the Haruno bitch gene. After all, with a Kekkei Genkei that allowed one to see through trees, it was a simple thing to look through clothes. In fact, the only currently alive Hyuga who wasn't perverted was Neji, which may have had something to do with his childhood trauma, as well as the time one of the branch members pulled a prank on him by placing a new Ika Ika novel with his name written in it in his tent, that Tenten ended up entering first. The infuriated Kunoichi then promptly got practice with exploding kunai, flaming axes, poison ivy-coated tripwire and a hammer. It was also said his father and his mother, who died in childbirth, also lacked the perversity trait. The other Hyuga, however, kept this fact about themselves secret. For example, they hid their secret spot for viewing the opposite sexes, as there had never been a gay Hyuga in history. Even more harshly than they protected their Byukugen. The few to ever find their spot, never were heard from again. However, on days when the hot springs weren't open or attracting anyone, they had their special editions Ika Ika collections. Even young Hanabi was set to get her first one on her birthday. Hinata sighed, before reaching under her bed, and pulled out a secret storage container. It were several Ika Ika novels, as well as a record book, several, Rosario plus Vampire Kapu 2 inches and Sekirei, mangas, something called Chakra Poud Hyuga Cum Cleaner, and photos of Naruto she had quietly obtained while he was smiling, or in the shower. Taking her record book, she turned it to a page and added a mark to a tally going on. Hinata had kept a record of all the naughty dreams she had in the last month and a half since she managed to get this. So far, it came out like this. Naruto and her normal, 20 Naruto and her Naruto dominant, 4. Naruto and her, she dominant, 3 Naruto and her, Naruto using shadow clones, 5. Naruto, her and Haku, 5 Naruto, her and Fu, 5 Naruto, her, Fu and Haku, 3. Frankly wondering if she was becoming bisexual, Hinata grabbed the cum cleaner. The branch family always complained when the bedding smelled like cum, and even though she did her own laundry, she still liked her bed unsticky. Namikaze House. A younger Fu was in a village park, giggling as she was flying up and down on a swing set, going up higher than normal thanks to her enhanced strength. The other children saw her, and cringed in fear, hiding behind their parents. "Mommy, the monster!" they cried. The parents glared at young Fu, who sensed the looks and stopped giggling. The parents sent death glares at the poor girl. "How can we let our children play around that creature? It's a danger to everyone. Let's kill it." A kunai was drawn and sent flying at young Fu. XXXXXXX. A young Haku was hiding in a corner, shivering. Several strange and really scary men had burst into her house, and her mommy had told her to hide. She did, and she was hearing strange words flying from the other room. "Demon blood, ice bitch, kill its infestation." A lot of screaming began, and a lot of it was her mother's. "Mommy," she yelped, but that was the wrong thing to do. "I hear it, its demon spawn is in this room. Kill it." XXXXXXXX. Older Fu was panting, as she found herself confronting a man whose face was blurred, but his black cloak with red clouds was still visible. Behind him was another in similar dress, with a huge sword covered in bandages. "So, you are the Nanabe's Jinchuriki," the man said, and the way he talked and moved, it reminded her of someone she knew. Then all she saw was red eyes. Sharingan. XXXXXX. Haku found herself back on the bridge, and she was staring down someone familiar. The person's blood-red eyes appeared to be glaring at her, as his fists shook. Several Senbon stuck out all over his body. "You're a human being, not a tool." She didn't answer him, before she heard the sound of lightning crackling. Prepare to die, Momoichi Zabuza. Instinct took over, as Haku flew to defend her master, and felt something strike her chest. Raikiri. XXXXXX. Now both of them were having the same dream. Now they were in a dark space, and strange sounds were heard. Slithering, laughter, screeching. Their bodies didn't feel right, they felt all dusty and fragile. Then the voices started to become clearer. Madara. Improved. Revival. Fourth shinobi. Then they felt their bodies start to move on their own accord, as the dark space opened up, and around them saw others move in similar gaits. The red-eyed man from Fu's dream. This guy had a Konoha headband with a slash, a purple suit wearing lady with long blonde hair from Kumo, Zabuza and several other guys with swords. Suddenly, they felt their bodies force them to move once again, and with a blur of their visions, found themselves attacking a guy in orange and black against their volition. The guy had blonde hair, and whisker marks. Bang! Ah! They both yelled, waking up from their nightmares, with night sweats. Thunder roared outside, rain poured, and the two didn't feel as though they could fall asleep again. Deciding to see if anyone else was up, they tiptoed from their rooms to the others. However, to get to theirs, they had to go by Naruto's room, and there they met, Haku in a blue nightie and Fu in an oversized green t-shirt. "Wait, why are you up?" Fu demanded. Haku shivered. "Bad dream." Fu gave her a sympathetic look. "You too, huh? Perhaps those Chunin exams are stressing us out or something." Haku sighed. "I don't know if I can fall asleep, mind if." "Sorry, I found a rat nest in the floorboards under my bed. Anbu must have missed them, or they're new. I summoned some beetles to deal with them, but unless you like the sounds of carnage, you have a room." Haku shook her head. "I fall asleep best with cool air, so I keep my room cold." "You mentioned you can't fall asleep in the cold, and heating the room would take most of what remains of the night." "I get it," Fu grunted, before they turned towards Naruto's door. "Maybe." Fu delicately knocked on the door, as a sound of a flushing toilet was heard. Naruto was given the former master bedroom, by the girl's request, because he had a habit of having to use the bathroom late of night, and the girls didn't need the noise at night. With a yawn, Naruto opened the door with his blue pajamas and his large black hippo nightcap. "You girls are up late," he yawned again. "Sorry, we couldn't sleep, could we?" Haku began to ask. Naruto shrugged. "Sure, knock yourselves out." About a half-hour later, in the king-sized bed of the master's bedroom, Naruto was fast asleep once again, his normal snoring habit dulled by a silencing jutsu from Haku, who'd learned it from Zabuza's silent killing Tekenshu. Fu and Haku, each to one side of Naruto, started a hushed conversation. "You know, this is nice," Fu commented, snuggling up closer to Naruto. As a Jinchuriki, she'd never really had much contact like this. It was relaxing. Haku smiled. This reminded her of when her parents let her in their room when something scared her. "Yes, it is. I wonder if we can make this permanent." Fu sent a look from over Naruto's sleeping form. "His bathroom habit. Simple. We just convince him not to drink that last hot chocolate before bed." Fu and Haku paled. It was that simple. Why didn't they think of it earlier? "You know, I was just thinking." Haku stared up at the ceiling. Fu gave her a curious look. "Naruto-kun's the last member of the Namikaze, and the Uzumaki, and he has 3 Kekkei Genkai, and I have ice release. The CRA doesn't work with soul females, because having dozens of guys doesn't speed up a clan's growth, but once they get word of his family, and realize that Storm releases a Kekkei Genkai, the civilians were idiot and the elders were a little senile." "The CRA," Fu said in curiosity, "Clan Restoration Act." Haku nodded. "Yes. I can just see the kiss-up they'd pull, before they try to stick him with fangirls or their mole kunoichi to try and control him. So, Fu, if that ever comes, will you help me defend him?" "Defend him?" Fu asked curiously. Haku smiled. "Both you and me, sharing Naruto-kun." Fu looked up at the ceiling as well. As a Jinchuriki, the more family, the more people caring about her, the better. She hadn't had enough of that as a child. "They have to be okayed by the both of us. But sure, I guess. Just one thing, I get to have his child first," Haku chuckled. "You'd probably would. According to what Zabuza gathered on my clan, we're a little less fertile than other shinobi. But let's try not to dwell on that more until we're Chunin." "But that's what I'm worried about," Fu admitted. "What if I'm not good enough? What if I hold you back, hold Naruto-kun back?" Haku smiled reassuringly. "We all have insecurities about the exams. Luckily, Zabuza was a proctor for one in Kiri once, and told me the story about it. I'm sure I can give you and Naruto-kun some pointers." The two girls smiled, before falling asleep surrounding their love. Chapter 18. Training Brawl Namikaze Estate. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, to find himself feeling warm. He'd never felt this warm before, no matter how many blankets he'd covered himself with. Turning his head to his sides, he found himself being hugged by two beautiful angels. On one side was Haku, her long black hair obscuring her face. The other side held Fu, her short green hair unkempt with a bedhead. Both were hugging onto him tightly, making the possibility of escape impossible. He smiled. Both of them were beautiful in his eyes, great personality, nice looks, and non-banshee voices. All different from his old crush, the vile Sakura beast. And unlike her, they could actually pull their weight on a team, instead of being nothing but an annoying set of cheerleaders. Naruto wished there was a way he could make them both happy. Oh, if only the boy had heard their conversation last night. Akatsuki HQ. The figure from Fu's dream, the one with the Sharingan, found himself staring into the glowing light of the moon. He may not be his brooding glory hound of a younger brother, but Itachi still had his brooding moments. The slayer of the Uchiha was furious with himself. Sasori's spy on Orochimaru, who was in turn spying on Konoha in some strange twist of fate, had reported the boy's behavior to him, and it infuriated him. When he slew his clan, he was protecting Konoha from the civil war their coup would have wrought upon them. Quite possibly, this action also stopped the beginnings of another shinobi world war, that no nation truly would have been ready for, except for possibly Kumo. He had expected the elders to view Sasuke like they'd viewed Naruto. The short-sighted fools were supposed to leave him on his own, to grow strong in the way the young Jinchuriki had. If they could treat Naruto that way, despite the fact that if he died or fell into immense hatred of everyone, the Kyuubi would have been released on some level. Itachi almost smirked, imagining the giant fox rising from Homura's house and blasting it to bits. Itachi had to admire the kid for it. If he'd lived on his own like that for so long, with all that hatred aimed at him, it would have destroyed him. But he suspected his brother would be of sterner stuff. He'd always had seen a stronger spirit than he did. His father saw inferior skill in the same boy in comparison to himself. But then, the idiots actually had an idea, and manipulated the boy, took custody of him, and turned him into that atrocity. Itachi was actually plotting some way to get back at them for that mockery they made of his dear brother. He wanted to be killed by a champion, not by a cocky idiot. Perhaps plotting your goals in life after reading Hellsing manga wasn't the best idea he ever had. Perhaps he needed to put some research into Kekkei Genkei transfer seals. Start the Uchiha somewhere fresh, away from the infection that was Madara and the evil duo of Homura and Kaharu. Kumo then. They never did work for that village and thus free of Madara's influence. While they had done missions for the Civilian Council of Kiri, they'd done a few missions for Suna when Iwa did a bit of border poking. They had also been contracted by Homura to kill a few on Mission Uchiha, and Iwa had hired them for a few high-risk assassinations they didn't wish to waste their shinobi on. The Tsuchikage was too paranoid of the other villages. "Pardon me, Itachi-san," a voice said. The last decent Uchiha turned around to find himself staring at a man in the same cloak, but he had the addition of a Venus flytrap-like growth on his shoulders, a head that was half black and half white and strange yellow eyes. "Yes, Zetsu-san, Pain-sama has requested a meeting with you and Kisame-san. We have information on a date when Konoha will be at a weak point, allowing for the capture of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki." Itachi nodded. He didn't want to really capture Naruto-kun, but he had to keep up appearances after all. And if he saw his brother, perhaps a bit of genjutsu via his Mangekyo Sharingan might snap him back to normal. And if he saw the bats, he'd set them on fire with a Maritsu. Maybe Konoha would pay them for it. Training Ground 3. In the old training ground of Team 7, Haku, Naruto and Fu found themselves practicing a few things. With less than 2 weeks before the Chunin exams, they wanted to squeeze in a few more tricks before then. Haku was practicing her taijutsu with Naruto, a skill she was weak on. So far, the team was Fu, who was heavy taijutsu with some ninjutsu, she with powerful ninjutsu and chakra control, with nearly no taijutsu, and Naruto in the middle. They wanted to try to balance that out. Fu, meanwhile, was focusing her chakra. "Hey, what the hell are you guys doing in our training ground?" An angry shout let out. Naruto, Fu and Haku turned around to spot the terror duo of Sakura, Sasuke and Sai, the creepy new guy who was even more emotionless than even Shino, and that was saying something. Training grounds are for the free use of any Konoha shinobi. No one owns a training ground unless it's on their land. And you own nothing anymore, Fu grinned. The pink and duck duo growled, while Sai gave a fake smile. You know, they have a point. I say you five just let bygones by bygones. Such division in our forces isn't healthy, Sai smiled. The others gave him a set of glares. Dobi, you'd better treat me with more respect than this. After all, I'm going to be on the council once I'm a chunin, the elders said so. Once I'm there, you have to do everything I say, and I'll be making sure to take my land back, and of course, I'll make your ramen illegal. Sasuke had been given emotional controlling lessons by Kakashi, the one-eyed Jonin, who'd been sent on AA rank mission by the Sandyame, at Kakashi's groveling hoping to see if the kid would be more tolerable, and it failed miserably. Lay off my ramen. That is cruel and unusual punishment. You got Sasuke-kun dirt poor you baka. How can you be so cruel? I'm an orphan you know. Compared to me in the days before missions, he's rich. The two were fuming. You little. Well then, seeing as we're on a training ground, by law I'm allowed to do this. Fire release, Phoenix Sage fire technique. Hundreds of little fire sparks flew from his mouth and at the trio. Earth release. Earth-style wall. A wall of earth was forced up by Fu, blocking the attack. Sai smiled fakely. Sorry, but seeing as you started this fight with non-combatant shinobi, I do not need to assist you in this matter, so good luck. Sai left the battleground. Sakura growled. That baka, not wanting to help Sasuke-kun. But I can, with my new Kekkei Genkei, Screech Release, Deathening sound wave. After a long breath, a huge sound wave was blasted from Sakura's mouth, sounding a lot like Sasuke-kun. Shocked, the blast hit Naruto and sent him flying into a tree, before he exploded into a plume of smoke. I will learn that jutsu if I have to go to hell to do it. Sasuke grumbled. Genjutsu, demonic tree binding illsuion. Suddenly, Fu found herself bowed to a tree. Struggling, her strength wasn't working, as Sasuke emerged from the tree like a snake out of a hole, holding a kunai. Like it, I copied it from the Jonin training team 8, the team with the dog moron, that trenchcoat, and that Hyuga bitch. And let's just say, I'm going to enjoy this. He lowered the kunai down towards the trapped Fu. When all of a sudden, his tree illusion fell apart. With a yelp, Sasuke fell to the ground, as Fu stumbled free of the binding. Naruto grinned, as Sasuke felt an anti-genjutsu tag on his back. What the hell? Sorry, but now you have no more genjutsu for 24 hours, and I say knock this guy out of the park Fu-chan. Gotcha. With all her strength, Fu gave Sasuke a punch to the jaw, sending him flying into the air, before he was replaced by Sakura. He'd used a substitution. Sakura was knocked out conscious and sent flying into the air, until she was nothing but a blinking star. Did you just sacrifice your own teammate, TEME? Naruto was appalled by how low Sasuke had sunk. He smirked. Sakura understands what her place is, serving me. Always has, and always will. Now then, once I beat you, you will take your rightful places under my feet. Fire release, fire snakes. 2 fire serpents were spat out of Sasuke's mouth and slithered straight at the trio. Fu, now, she nodded and did several rapid hand signs. Earth release, earth flow rampart. The trio of Team 11 found the earth rising from beneath them. The fire snakes hit the wall and burst into ashes. Naruto did a hand sign as well, his favorite. Shadow Clone Jutsu. A shadow clone appeared next to Naruto. The clone nodded and jumped down to where Sasuke was still. Water release. Great waterfall technique. From the nearby river, a huge burst of water rose up and swamped the battlefield. Sasuke took quick notice and jumped out of the way, as the entire battlefield found itself swamped. How can the Dobi do that? Kakashi will teach me that jutsu. Earth style. Rapid rock scaling technique. Sasuke smashed into the earth wall, and his chakra forced up several stairs of earth to allow the quick scaling of the rampart. Kakashi taught him this jutsu, because he had believed Sasuke couldn't do any harm with it. Sadly, while Sasuke was an arrogant bastard, he wasn't Rookie of the Year for nothing. Earth release. Rock Shurikan. The old platforms he had previously used to climb were converted into giant projectiles, and sent flying at the group. Ice release. Ice spikes. Haku used the water from waterfall technique to create giant spikes of ice to block the rock shuriken. However, the earth release was super effective against the water component of the ice, shattering the jutsu. Take that bitch. Lightning release. Lighting dome. Naruto rapidly did dog, horse, dog, monkey and dog and slammed his hands into the ground, before a dome of electricity formed around them, blocking the rocks, as this time, the effectiveness of jutsu was on their side. But now Sasuke was up on their rampart. Prepare to die, fools. Fire release. Dragon flame jutsu. A dragon made of fire flew from Sasuke's mouth straight at them. Fu did a few quick hand signs. Water release. Water wyvern bullet. A water dragon rose up from below and blocked the fire dragon, filling the area around them with mist. Now Haku. Haku nodded. This was just the moment they'd been waiting for. Ice release. Senbon shower. From the mist all around them, hundreds of Senbon formed, firing straight into Sasuke. He screamed in agony. How dare you, bitch? He seethed in pain. Of course, she couldn't kill him, that would get her, and easily her teammates banished. But another hedgehog impersonation wouldn't hurt. Sorry Hedgehog-chan, we've had enough fun for today, be seeing you. The trio turned their backs, as Sasuke snapped. I will kill you all, especially you Naruto. Chidori. A Chidori formed in Sasuke's hands. Thousands of chirping birds then filled the area with sound from his jutsu. Placing his hand into the ground, he dashed forward, bloodlust clouding his eyes. Naruto sighed. Well then, it looks like I get to test my new technique. Now then, he didn't have a chance as he was stabbed by a Chidori, and exploded into smoke, as did Fu and Haku. Damn shadow clones. Got to love them, don't you Sasuke Tem? Fire release, 1000 years of death. He felt a burning feeling in his ass, literally. With a screech, he was sent flying down to the flooded battlefield below. One thought was on his mind. The Dobi can do fire release. How in hell is that possible? The trio, rising out of the ground thanks to Fu's double decapitation suicide technique, they hid underground while Sasuke was suffering from pain due to all the Senbon, laughed hysterically. That was rich. Of course, they decided to go and see the old man. After all, they didn't want Sasuke or Sakura to get the story to the councils first. Best to let the council do damage control. While that did count as a training exercise by legal definitions, they had to make sure the civilians didn't use this to harm them. Meanwhile, Sai had finally named a painting of his, the idiot hedgehog. From the tree he had been watching the battle in, he felt a fake smile back on his lips. Lord Danzo would be interested to hear about Naruto's growth. While he was now unable to get the kid into root, any of his children would be sure prospects for it. Meanwhile, from another tree, Rock Lee, Neji and a girl with a pink tank top and hair like a panda's head had been watching the battle. That was horribly unyoutful. Neji, I am so glad you are much more morraled than Uchiha Sasuke. Neji smiled coldly. Of course I am, after all I had to work for what I have, he didn't. Exactly Neji, and if you put 2 and 2 together, then with more work, I will surpass even you, Neji chuckled. Keep dreaming Lee, the girl put her 2 cents in as well. Looks like we might actually have some rivals from Konoha, and some decent kunoichi. Those 2 are actually decent. Exactly ten, this team's youth burns with the fire of 1000 suns. I say if we don't get at least as far as they do in the CHUNNIN exams, I will run from here to the land of tea and back with a pair of JALEPENO peppers in my nostrils. Neji and Tenten groaned. Was their teammate, and by extension their sensei, Mascozits or something. Also watching this battle, was another kunoichi who wasn't a pathetic fangirl, or fangirl in recovery. She had short black hair, and was wearing a red shirt and shorts, with net armor covering her legs. Her left arm and right leg were more covered than the other limbs, and an Iowa headband adorned her head. That boy, he looked a lot like him, the girl frowned. Does he have family still? But that kid must still be a genin, so I hope I get to meet up with him in the exams, and deal to that boy the justice that abomination the yellow flash did to my Gramps' village. Hearing a buzzing noise, the girl looked up to see Sakura falling straight at her from above, now that she was coming back to Earth, or did she just circumnavigate it? Annoying fangirl. Lava RELASE, lava rock. The girl spat out from her mouth a rock of rapidly cooling magma, that slammed into Sakura and sent her flying into the water below. OC techniques screech release, deafening sound wave. Keke Genkai, C. Descarpedon, a technique that lets out huge vocals of sound to strike a foe. Earth release, rapid rock scaling technique rank, E. Description, a jutsu for rapidly scaling rock walls without full chakra control, Iwa Academy Jutsu Earth release, rock shuriken rank, D. Description, the earth around you is controlled for projectiles fire release, 1000 years of death rank, C. Description, fire style version of Kakashi's joke jutsu lava release, lava rock Keke Genkai, C. Description, a rapidly cooling ball of lava is lobbied at a foe. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.